dun dun.
Disgusted.
It's just so much. I just can't stand Kansas City. Time and time again. For anyone that knows, I'm in Nebraska, so I live a hop, skip, and a jump away from Kansas City, and I just can't stand Kansas City Chief fans, amongst other things like Nebraska Cornhusker fans. Got a lot of feelings when it comes to the Chiefs. My children have never seen a victory against the Chiefs. It just continues to be a thorn in our side. Even when we get a little bit of momentum, Kansas City just has a knack for crushing us when we need it the least. 27-24 loss. There are no moral victories, but this was as close to a moral victory, kind of like the other Kansas City game this year, as they come. I hate Andy Reid. I don't like McKinnon because I love Nathan McKinnon, and so anytime I have to have the word McKinnon in vain makes me angry to my core. There's just a lot of things in this game. We got some feelings to buck. I'm going to buck my feelings. My buds, Johnny and Isaiah, they're gone today. They have so many feelings. They couldn't join us today. They want to start out the new year on a high note, and I don't blame them. So it's going to be a shortened, abbreviated buck your feelings today. But I tell you what, folks, I'm here. I'm ready for it. Let's get into it a little bit. This is the Buck Your Feelings podcast. Let's go.
Your lack of faith disturbing.
I just can't even some days, and today's one of those days where I just continue to can't even. This is the Buck Your Feelings podcast. I am your host, Jay Weaver here. I am flying solo today. But you know what? Honestly, I have enough feelings for multiple people today, so might be throwing multiple personalities at you today, talking amongst ourselves. We've got all the guys in here. We got Andy. Andy, we're going to get into some feelings. I know you got some feelings. We got our boy Ty Y in the house. Let's go. A lot of feelings here. He's with us. He's got feelings to buck as well. I always have a little more feelings when we play the Chiefs. I kind of said it in the pregame. Chief games hit a little different. I was actually in attendance the last time we beat the Chiefs in Kansas City. That was the game where Peyton Manning came back in the second half for a rallying cry to beat the Chiefs with Jamal Charles fumbling it. I believe, I think it was Bradley Roby that picked it up and ran it in for a touchdown to win the game. So that was the last time we beat them. And that is a long time ago, many moons ago, as they say. So guys, it's just, I had some hope today. We played really well. Things kind of fell in line to a certain extent. I kind of feel like I felt a difference of everybody brought a lot of intensity. Everybody brought effort. Everybody obviously rallied around all the changes that happened this last week, whether it be Hackett going, whether it be, a brand new coach, old school, guy coming in here that really kind of put everything into perspective of no, everybody's got to work for their job. And if you don't want to work for your job, you need to leave. And that's why we had a lot of interesting changes this week. For instance, Albert O. I didn't even know you existed still. But Albert O coming through clutch with a touchdown catch. Had some dropsies. There were some other things that happened with Albert O, but I just was floored to see Albert O's face. Another Montreal Washington benched healthy scratch. We kind of spoke about it on pregame show. Again, that's another imprint of this new coaching staff on this team. So there were a lot of different things. We got Russell Wilson playing with full effort today, and I appreciate that full effort. You can tell that he's just trying to make it work. You can tell that he is attacking the game in a more ferocious manner than he was in the beginning of the year. At least I can see that from the rushing attempts that he's had. Just kind of the, hey, my pants are on fire, I'm going to run around type of, ad hoc play style Russ has seen. So that's very, very good. Another development of this game. Was anyone else floored pregame to find out that Justin Outen, of all people, was the guy that was going to call plays this game? I had no clue of that. I thought this was Clint's show to run. So I was absolutely floored to hear that pregame. And to be quite honest, it kind of showed to me that it was like, oh, wow, we're treating this as a preseason game. We're giving the keys to the offense to a guy that's literally never held the keys and previously in the year admitted he wasn't qualified to hold the keys, hence why Clint even got the opportunity. That's bonkers. I did see a different style of play call this game with Justin Outen. They cut screen on broadcast to him in the booth quite a bit of times, cheering and getting real rowdy. I'm not going to lie, today was the most I've seen Justin Outen's face on a telecast, on a broadcast, seeing his emotion from the sideline. He's kind of been the man behind the curtain from the offensive standpoint to me this year. So kind of interesting to see him. I guess the play call style that I see from him this game was the let's let Russ play option football. Like the quarterback draws, one of them worked ridiculously well. And one of them, Murray kept it. But even if Russ would have kept it, he would have been clear. There was a lot of running room when it comes to, wasn't necessarily zone blocking, but it's kind of the same mentality of zone blocking of making that line move and then cutting back and playing the outside the hash games when it comes to the running game. I saw some improvements on that. It was nice to see Russ in those type of plays. That's kind of what I expected going into this year. That's what Russ has historically been. Another point that I thought was very interesting that came up in this game was the all-time quarterback rushing leaders in NFL history. Has anyone else just been absolutely floored to know that Russell Wilson is third in NFL history for rushing yards, surpassing the great Randall Cunningham, the Viking Eagle running back or quarterback that ran around? I don't even see those as the same light of quarterback. That stat in itself is mind-blowing. And to think that we haven't even thought about Russ in that manner this year. There's the disconnect between the perception of what Russ is and what we think Russ is supposed to be. But you know what? To his credit, like I said before, Russ came to play. Outen played a pretty good game, called a pretty good game for Russ. We saw a lot of great things. So I'm happy. I'm happy to see at least some of the positives out of this game. There were definitely some negatives. Andy, for instance, get Dalton Reisner the hell out of Denver. I couldn't agree more. Dalton Reisner has really disappointed me. Just a lot. I know that he got hurt this game. I know that there's obviously been the fighting. I know there's just been a lot of ill will on him from a player personnel standpoint. It's been rough. I don't think he'll be returning. He's a hometown kid that kind of, I'm sure deep down kind of feels like Philip Lindsay right now. tossed aside trash. That's the local kid that, he just wants to play for his hometown team and he wants to win. But there's a time and a place for everyone. And I think Dalton Reisner's time is over with Denver. So that's okay in my book, at least. So, another development out of this game, just, I guess, another chapter in the Dalton Reisner book of, enjoy wherever you play next year. So I don't know. Very interesting. We got our boy Robert in the house. What up, Robert? Man, I really appreciate you joining us on our podcast this last week. Dude, good vibes. Hope to have you on again. I really appreciate you. Man, it's been a rough game. It's been a rough day. Dave Full Glassman in here as well. Pass interference, buck this game and buck the refs. There were some serious weird referee instances where I just kind of turned my head of like, wow, they made some wrong calls. There were some really bad calls in this game. There were some non-calls, a lot of pass interference that was just all over the board. They called it when they shouldn't have. They didn't call it when they should have. A lot of that back and forth. But Mahomes gets those calls. It's kind of like the NBA. Your stars get the free throws. Your bench players have to fight for every foul they earn. And I've always looked at Patty Mahomes as the spotlight kid of the national media. And so, there will be a bone thrown to him at any instance that, New York, as they say, will throw. So it's all good in the hood. But, like I said, very good game, to be quite honest. Another great game out of Latavius Murray. Dude, I love the guy. He runs so hard. I would love to see him in the backfield with Williams next year. And to be quite honest, I want to pair him with some sort of speed back, some sort of scat back, whether it's Marlon Mack, whether it's Edwards. I mean, that role looks to be something that I think our offense desperately needs. So another great game out of him. Again, so strange to see Albert O dressed, let alone like being successful, but he had 3 receptions for 45 yards and a tutty for Albert O. Nobody still can pronounce the last name, as the broadcasters still continue to just say Albert O. I will say Albert Okuwebunam. Probably the last time I'll have to utter that last name because he will be gone. Although he'll probably play against the Chargers next week. But it's still pretty crazy stuff, man. It's just, Andy says here, I see it like this. Overall talent and execution surrounding the quarterback is killing this team. Obviously, Russ is making terrible mistakes, but those mistakes are made worse because of the lack of team play. Couldn't agree with you more, Andy. Russ deserves a lot of blame, and I'm the first person to throw shade at Russ. I'm not necessarily a huge, Russ fan right now. I'm willing and open to be wrong, and I'm willing to be open to him, gaining my trust again this offseason as to what he's going to do to prepare for next season. But there is plenty of other holes on this team than just Russ. Our offensive line is garbage. Butch Barry should never have been hired. Thank God he's gone. I heard that was the easiest coaching decision or coaching decision to make because he would literally just put tape on and scream at guys. There was no teaching. There was no coaching. There was no correction, adjustments made. It was just hey, you suck. Look at this on tape. Nobody's got time for that. Mike Munchak, where are you? Please, please come back. But, yeah, man, there's a lot of different things. I am kind of glad, honestly, to see Justin Outen get a game. I thought that's very head-scratching for him to get a game to call it. But to have Clint Kubiak just kind of take a step back for a game tells you all you need to know about the outlook this team or management has on Clint Kubiak, which is something I disagree with. I would love to have Clint back next year. I'd love to have him have the keys. But I just don't think that's probably in the cards if we're taking keys away from him with ample time to get reps in with Russ. That's obviously an important connection. If you don't want your quarterback and offensive coordinator to have additional snaps together, then obviously one of those two are not going to continue on with you into the future. We all know Russ isn't going anywhere next year, so that's kind of interesting. But, a new play caller in this season just shows us that, again, there are glimmers of hope on this offense. There are, with each new set of eyes comes a new layer to this offense and a new, outlook to the offense that we can take and run with next year as far as what's worked and what hasn't worked. For instance, the quarterback draw play that we saw a couple times today, heck yeah, I'd love to see that next year. Doesn't matter the offensive coordinator. Russ should have the skill set to pull that off, and that sets up a lot of other play calls along down the line. As far as bringing that middle linebacker in, bringing, some sort of linebacker in to always have a man on Russ. Respect that quarterback draw, respect that quarterback coming out, have a man on him. Can't be unaccounted for. So those type of things, putting tape on for next year, because obviously this year's over. This was a preseason game. Next game, obviously, is going to be a preseason game with nothing to play for. But it's valuable reps for Sutton, Judy, I would say Dulcich, but he's a goner. But, for the key parts of this offense to just keep vibing together, keep meshing together, because I don't believe any of those key parts are going anywhere in the offseason. They'll be back next year. They'll just have a new maestro to the orchestra conducting the play calling for next year. So maybe that'll be Jim Harbaugh. Maybe it won't. There's a lot of interesting things going around to that as well. I had no idea that Evero was on the staff of Harbaugh in San Francisco at one time. That's mind-blowing. There's just goes to show you it's a small world in the coaching steps of the NFL. So there's connection of Evero, to Dan Quinn and Jim Harbaugh. So either of those head coaching candidates could just simply include run it back for the defensive staff that we currently have right now, which I'd be all in favor of. I'm all good with that. I'm sure Evero will get head coaching looks, but I don't know if that will come to fruition or not. Might need to be another coaching cycle for him to actually get hired, but he'll get interviews. And speaking of head coaching interviews, my gosh, does anyone else feel like Eric Bieniemy is just being shoved down our throats as far as a head coaching candidate? They just go out of their way every broadcast to bring up, this guy he's running the best offense ever, and he just can't get a look on the head coaching job, but he'll probably get some more looks this offseason. It'll be interesting to see where he lands. And he's not going anywhere. Nobody wants the guy. I know I certainly don't want Eric Bieniemy as our head coach. A couple 3 years ago, I thought about that. That was in my head. He got the CU connection. Can always go for a homer guy coming into town. But Vance Joseph obviously didn't work out well in that realm. So I guess what do I know? But I don't know. There'll be a lot of changes, needless to say. Let's see. Andy brings up also keep Bowles and Quinn. Man. I mean, the offensive line is going to be so different. I could see Bowles being traded. I think that's the only asset we have on the line that maybe we could recruit some picks in. If somebody offered a second-round draft pick for Bowles, even if it was a crappy second, I'd totally take that. I never have been a huge fan of Bowles. I think Bowles has been serviceable, but he's going to be making a lot of money and coming off a bad injury. I would look to flip him if we can. Get some more darts at the dartboard for Mr. Payton and his skill set of talent evaluation. But I don't know. Got D-Rock in here. This was a well-fought game, and it was. It truly was. We didn't give up. We had fight. There was fight in the dog, or dog in the fight, I guess, today for us. And I'm happy to see that response, at least after the beating that was Christmas Day. I mean, what a sour taste in our mouth to end the year. So thank God we get to start this year off with at least a palatable game. It's digestible. It's at least something that I won't be embarrassed to say I'm a Broncos fan tomorrow, which, there's other games I have been absolutely embarrassed to be a Broncos fan. So it is what it is. Let's see here. We got Mike 5.56. Is that like your 40 time, Mike? Your dash? Oh. But Mike says, well fought, rigged game. I won't necessarily cheers to that, Mike, but you are a new name in the chat, so I will cheers to you in that. I hate to be the Debbie Downer here, but the NFL is an entertainment business, which therefore they do have scripts, and they do not have to be honest in fair play. So just throw that out there. But we love the entertainment that it is. At least I love the entertainment that it is. Here we are spending our good earned time, free time, our leisure time, talking about a bunch of guys running around with the ball. So I'm here for it. Sign me up. Let's go. But, hey, there were some questionable calls. But I think fair to say you could sit down and watch any sporting event and be able to point to the zebras at one point or another saying, WTF are you thinking, dude? So I don't know. To each their own, I guess, in referee opinions. That is certainly not the reason we lost the game. I will say that. It's certainly not the reason why we have 4 wins on the year and we'll be giving Seattle a top 5 draft pick. Wah, wah, wah.
I am disgusted.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad stuff. It's bad stuff. I don't know. It is. It is. I didn't even go into the beginning of things. Obviously, I'm a novice when it comes to this whole driving thing. My cousin Johnny is far better at this role than I am, but please like, share, subscribe, comment. I mean, we already got some good commenters. We got the usual crew, which I so much appreciate your attendance. But please like, share, and subscribe, guys. We try and have fun on this podcast as much as we can. We are presented today by Dubby. Dubby is the way to go, guys. I've got my own bottle here. I don't know if you can see it through the promo code in which you need to, chip in, log into. But Dubby for the win. Seriously, a scoop a day keeps the jitters away. If you like coffee, this is a good alternative to coffee. It really is. It's no jitters. It tastes good. I mean, for instance, I've got this, Galaxy Grenade. We got a little watermelon, a little lime. Just a lot of good stuff. It's tasty stuff. I wouldn't necessarily give it to your kids. I have 3 little kids. I don't trust them with any additional energy. They run around like chickens with their heads cut off as it is. So I would put a safety lock on that or put it at your top shelf. So anyway, other than that, go get your Dubby. It's probably not in the bio. I didn't type the bio up. I just kind of did a rough post, copy and paste here for this post-game show. So apologize on that. Maybe go over to the pre-game show. Check out all the bio stuff in there for your merch. All your knickknacks, your patty wax. Give a dog a bone. D-Rock with the 5.56/223. That was the answer to we score on that drive and the game is different. Mike, I mean, I just there's a lot of calls. I know you're bringing up the calls. The calls were bad. You also have to keep in mind it's in Kansas City. I don't recall watching NFL broadcasts and constantly being shoved in the face of what's the decimal point today? What's the decimal point on this down? Oh, it's so loud. Whoop-de-doo-dah. All right, been Arrowhead. It's fine and all. It's like a concrete, sandcastle made from the 80s material. It ain't nothing special. It is loud, but there's nothing else around there. I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere. So, yeah, noise travels. So, congratulations, Kansas City. Go eat your barbecue. So, I don't know. Just bitter. I got a bitter taste in my mouth. I just don't like Kansas City. It's not my bag. It's not my thing.
I just hate him. I hate him. I hate him.
Seriously. It's just all that stuff and more. So, I don't know. All right. This game kind of boiled down to a couple of things. I've got just a couple more highlights to highlight here, a couple more people to highlight. So, I'm going to Uncle Rico it up, toss her over them mountains. Let's go. All right. Game balls going out. I only got 2 game balls. We got an offensive game ball and a defensive game ball. Offensive game ball, I will go Mr. Russell Wilson for all of the drama and turmoil that he has had to endure this year. He finally had some life breath into, the opposition to that narrative. He had Jerry Jeudy come up and say his piece about his quarterback. He had Garrett Bowles come to his defense. He had all these guys, including ex-teammates like Melvin Gordon, who's on the Chiefs, come to his defense. And he showed up. 2 rushing touchdowns. He looked engaged in this game. He looked like he, was trying to win this game, putting full effort in, and just really doing everything he could to secure victory and run this offense as efficient as possible. His line sucks. He took quite a bit of sacks once again today. Anytime he wasn't bootlegging out or rolling out or improvising in some sort of way, he was under pressure and under the gun, and he needed to have a one-read, drop back throw. And that is what it is. He's not a pocket passer. We don't have the skill set in our offense to have a pocket passer, let alone if we have the skill set of a quarterback to have a pocket passer, which we don't. But he did exactly what he needed to do to put us in position to win this game. And he almost did. So for that, hey, Russ, you get a game ball. Keep on going into next year with that fire in your belly, running the ball and willing to take a hit and willing to sacrifice for your team. Because that's how you get buy-in from your teammates. That's how you get more and more people on your side coming to your defense when the entire nation wants just to make fun of you. And they've made fun of you all year long. And there's plenty of things Russ should be proud of. I mean, my gosh, last night on the New Year's Eve special in LA, was watching on ABC, Sierra. She was announcing concerts, being Sierra, looking all Sierra-ish. I mean, he gets to go home to that every night. Good for him. Golf clap to that. So life's not all bad for Russell Wilson. He should have a little bit of a smirk on his face, a little smile. And hopefully he can regain some of his mojo, some of his swagger going into next year so we can just, forget about this year. Move on. It is 2023 after all. Shake the evil out of ya and start afresh. So, Russ, you got that offensive game ball. Let's go. Defensive game ball. This is a tough one. But he just continues to just be the leader of not only this side of the ball, but this team. Justin Simmons coming through clutch. He was the only reason we were in this game. If you really think about it, that's a red zone interception. Not only just an interception, but an interception that flips points. And we go down, points off turnovers, go march right back down and get a touchdown. That was the flip. And he just has come through clutch in moments like that all year long. And that just continues to be him. It continues to be his personality, just the persona that he brings to this team. I'm so happy to have Justin Simmons, the person, the player, the role, the captain, the leader, all of it, the whole package on this team. He's what we call an untouchable. I don't want him in any other uniform. As long as him and PS2 are back there, I'm confident in this defense because I believe in those 2 guys. So normally I say, hey, if I don't have an obvious game ball to give out, I'm going to give one to PS2 because it goes without saying PS2 is a living legend, a walking Hall of Famer, if you will. And he, again, it's another game of, didn't really hear a whole lot from him, but you know what? They avoided him like the plague. And that's why Juju Smith-Schuster, pick a name, you hyphenate, you hyphener. He didn't do anything really in this game. He was blanked for like 3/4 of this game. Like 1 catch for nothing yards. So, Juju, hooter, haha. PS2 reigns again. So, but Justin Smith gets the ball. This defense comes up clutch again. Doing big things. We get glimpses. We just don't have the whole package, which is why we keep losing these, close games. Like I said, we can talk a whole segment, a whole podcast about who's going to be the head coach, where the changes to this team are coming. But, I'm all good running that defense back. Everything I see, I was a huge skeptic into the Josie Jewell, Jonas Griffith linebacking core going into this year. Jonas Griffith kind of fallen off the edge. Haven't heard anything from him. So, I guess I don't have much to say about him. But Alex Singleton, what an incredible value of a player that we've got there. Hope we re-sign him, run him and Josie back. I'm all good with that. Draft a young player. I don't know. One other note, and I guess just a more of an annoyance than anything. With Randy Gregory out this game, this was supposed to be a Nick Bonito game. Did anyone hear Nick Bonito's name? Did anyone hear of Nick Bonito doing anything? Boy, that might come back to be another whiff in the draft by our boy Georgie. Because I haven't seen much to give me hope that he was worth the value that we drafted him at. So I don't know, something to be said about that. But it smells kind of like a Shane Ray, what could have been, but you're not really going to do a whole lot. But we'll see. We'll see. Neither near here nor there. We'll talk about it, I'm sure, in the offseason. But, just a lot of guys that you kind of turn your head and say, do you deserve a spot next year? Do ya? And speaking of that, Kevin Orange Weekly. Yeah, Kevin from Orange Weekly chimes in here. Interesting how Albert O popped back into the lineup after Hackett leaves. Absolutely. And there's no one else to point to that but Hackett himself. Because Justin Out and his boy, the architect, offensive coordinator, still here. He didn't go anywhere. And Albert O just randomly gets popped back in. You got to think that is a sign of somebody management saying, hey, this guy's going to dress and you're going to involve him because we need to showcase him in some manner. If I can get a 7th round draft pick out of him, that's what we should get. Like, we need something out of you. But him being a healthy scratch every week certainly isn't helping his tradability. So I'm all for that. I thought we should have been doing that from day one with him because he is raw talent, meaning he's a terrible run blocker. He's horrible in some skill sets, but he has a skill set that does transfer. So I don't know. But that is very interesting, Kevin. I noticed that too. So big stuff for this game. Like I said, would have liked to have had a victory. Hopefully we can end the year next week against the San Diego Chargers. And yes, I will always say San Diego because they haven't earned the right to, me pay attention to their name changes and whatnot, just like the garbage team that is the Raiders, Oakland, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, whatever, wherever you are today, you still suck. You're still garbage. Trash cans travel as well. That's why, you have trash cans with wheels on them. So, yeah, put a paper bag over your head. Charger, Raider, Chief fans. Here we go. So, in that case, I've got a lot of feelings still, but I've bucked a lot. I think I've bucked enough for today. So thanks, guys, for being here. Appreciate you being here on this New Year's Day. I wish you adieu. I wish you best of luck, good health into the new year. Appreciate y'all being here for the Buck Your Feelings post-game show. I am Jay Weaver. We will see you this next week for the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue weekly podcast with me, myself, and my cousin John Bakke. That will be at 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern, and then we're going to 5:30 Mountain, 4:30 Pacific. So all those latter times for you, go check it out. But if it makes it easier, just go subscribe, go like. It'll pop up for you. Turn your notifications on. We're out there. We're around. So appreciate y'all being here. Happy New Year. Go Broncos. Let's ride, boys.